Hey there, you're listening to the Flute 360 podcast, and I'm Dr. Heidi Kay Begay, your host and fellow flutist. This podcast is your comprehensive guide to everything flute, whether it's personal growth, artistic development, or business strategy. I launched Flute 360 because I saw a need for information that wasn't available in school. And I know you might feel the same. Together, we'll find your voice and amplify it, so you're not just an artist, but a fulfilled musicpreneur. Welcome to Flute 360, where every aspect of your flute journey is connected. Today's episode 299 is titled Mirror Image: Finding Your Dream Client in Your Own Reflection. Hey Flute 360er, I have a few questions for you. Can't find your artistic voice? Struggling to pivot back into music or make it your livelihood? When you don't have the support at home or from your spouse, it can feel impossible. But the Flute 360 studio is here to help. With one-on-one private coaching and flute lessons, we focus on what's most important: you. There are only 4 spots left, and the deadline to join is September 1st, 2024. Let's transform your flute journey together. Email me at HeidiKBegay@gmail.com or visit my website at HeidiKBegay.com for more information. The links are in the show notes below. Talk to you soon. Hey there, Flute 360er. Heidi here, and thank you so much for tuning into another Flute podcast episode. Today's content is all about getting really granular and looking at your potential buyer. Now, I know that talking business is not everybody's cup of tea, but trust you me, you are a business. You, as a modern day flutist, a 360er, you are a business. And the minute you start showing up for yourself in that way, seeing yourself in that light, you are going to hold this new position for yourself, and the trajectory of your success is going to be monumental. Trust me, okay? If you need help with pivoting, seeing yourself as a company, acting and functioning like a CEO, I am always here for you. Now, the reason why I preface today's content in this way is because I don't want you to hear these nuggets and go, oh, that's not for me. No, it is. The reason why I am standing on these soapboxes and preaching this musicpreneur stuff is because you are a business. And even if you don't see yourself in this light just yet, that's okay. The more you keep consuming this content, the more you keep putting other musicpreneurs in your path, in your orbit, the more you will start showing up for yourself and your business in this way. Okay, so with that being said, today's topic is very business-esque, but it's still for you. Even if you don't see yourself as a CEO just yet, you can apply some of these nuggets into your artistry. You can apply these nuggets into your own personal growth. Because let's face it, everything is interconnected. That's the essence and the heart of Flute 360. The more I show up and the more I grow as a musicpreneur, guess what? I promise you, I am a better flutist and teacher and overall human being because of the lessons that the business teaches me, and vice versa. Same way with showing up and really putting my health as a number one priority. Guess what? The ripple effect and the lessons learned in the health realm interconnect with how I run my business, my studio, and my artistry. When I'm a podcaster and I share my life, the essence of storytelling and being articulate from one point to the next helps my teaching, and it helps my musical intention behind every stinking phrase. I cannot stress this enough. But enough about that. I just wanted to lay out the groundwork for y'all so that way you can see where I'm coming from. With that being said, I want you to know that today's content, we are focusing on and talking about your dream client and or student. And the reason why we are talking about this is because I know a lot of you want to venture out into your flute business and start up a flute concert tour, a small ensemble chamber recital tour, a flute course, some remote offering, okay? And we have been talking about selling and putting yourself out there, shifting your paradigm, and all that jazz. So if we can get clarity on who you are as a CEO, how you show up, how you function and serve your community, and what you are offering, what problems you are solving as an entrepreneur, then you can get really granular and super clear on how you're serving your people, in what capacity, and who they are. So I had a massive aha moment many years ago as I was building out the podcasting musician course. Now, that podcasting musician course ended up being a sister company through my business portfolio, and that's the Red House Productions company. And as I was putting together this podcasting musician course, I learned a lot about my people. And this epiphany hit me and dawned on me that I, as the entrepreneur, I have a lot more in common with my clientele than what I could ever imagine to be true. Now, hear me out. Go back in time and think about the nuggets that I have shared through Flute 360 over the years. And one of the main soapboxes that I have been on is for me to encourage you to show up as genuinely, authentically as possible. Not only that, but to be vulnerable and to share your story. There is so much power and weight in sharing your testimony, who you are, your story, your credentials, and putting it out there into the world. There's a lot of reasons why I encourage you to do this. We're not going to go through all the different layers, but some of them include it's just a really good creative outlet for you. I know that I have healed and realized certain facets about myself through storytelling, through sharing my testimony, through showing up in a very vulnerable way. It has been a great self-reflection tool. Other benefits to doing this is not only by showing up in a very authentic, genuine, vulnerable way, you will start connecting with people at a very deep level. And we cannot do it alone. We need people in our lives to really expand our personal and professional endeavors. But another reason why I say, please show up for yourself and share and be authentic, be vulnerable, is because through those initiations, through cultivating and scaling these relationships, new opportunities unfold. And what I specifically mean by that, this is like a sub-lesson from all of those other lessons, is that when you are building out these relationships, people will begin to know, like, and trust you. And I've mentioned this before, but people purchase from those who they know, like, and trust. Now, to take it one step further, this is the point for today's episode. And that is, as these relationships are cultivated and as people are considering to purchase X product or Y offering, they end up buying possibly from you, the CEO, the flute business owner, because they know you. And not only that, they know you and they see a portion of you in them. There is a part of you, your backstory, your background, a personality trait, a characteristic trait that they recognize in themselves. Is that not phenomenal? We reflect back to each other different life stories, different portions of our realm in each other's own reality. And if you never share about yourself, the things that you're passionate about, hobbies, likes, dislikes, pain points, valleys, mountain peaks, if you don't share all of these wonderful stories with your audience, then they will not get to know you on that level. And that's why I encourage you to do so. So I'm going to give you a few examples so that way I make my point super clear and I'm not all over the place. So here's example number 1. And I promise I'm not conveying too much and sharing too much that I shouldn't. This is something that you will hear in episode 300 that goes out this Monday. And it's with my dear former student, Peter Musanga from Zambia, Africa. And he talks about his wonderful life journey and the goals that he has for his upcoming year, 5-year goal, 10-year goal, etc. But to give you some context, the reason why Peter and I initially found each other was because of the podcast. It was because of the accelerator program. And once I heard that he was interested, I was trying to find a win-win for everybody involved. As we got to know each other, I opened up to him and I shared with him things that I hadn't even shared with you yet, the podcast listener. But it was in a very intimate one-on-one conversation where I was telling him about my backstory of how my great-grandfather from my mother's side, great-grandpa Rose now, how he was a missionary who traveled from Russia to Central African Republic for his mission work. And I connected with him on a deep level, and I shared that part of my world with him because he is a Zambian flutist. I wanted him to know that I understood him to a certain degree. I wanted him to know that I grew up with African stories throughout my background as a little girl, and that I could connect and resonate with him and his life in Zambia, again, to a certain degree. Not a full throttle where I am pretending to know everything from Peter's world. I would never do that. But just connecting from human to human, and even though we are thousands of miles apart, we have something in common, something that binds us together. And I wanted to make that deep connection with him. So as I was sharing my great-grandfather's missionary work in Central African Republic, he got to know me better. And so for Peter to look and to hear these stories, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he is making that connection and saying, oh, wow, Heidi and I have something in common. Oh, she gets me. I get her. How cool is that? And because she gets me and she understands a little bit about my world, that makes me more comfortable to work with her. And not only that, not only the relationship and the work of my great-grandfather in Africa many, many, many moons ago, but currently my sister is married to a Kenyan man. His name is Kenny, and I love my brother-in-law so, so much. And the reason why that's so important for him to know that too is because of the relationship that I have with Kenny and how I see Catherine and Kenny interact, and raising my niece, Rosalind, up is a part of my life. And actually, it's a really important part of my life because Rosalind made me auntie. And I love Rosalind with all of my heart. She's 5 years old, I swear, and the girl's already 5 feet tall. I'm exaggerating. She's not. But man, you look at this girl and you're like, wow, she is really smart, beautiful, and height-wise, maturity-wise, she acts like a 7 or 8-year-old. But I digress. That's my world. I see her at least once or twice a month. I get to be auntie and spoil her and play with her and do life with her. And the stories that Kenny talks about from his home in Nairobi, Kenya, are really special to me. So between my great-grandpa and Kenny, I have connections to Africa. This is how I can make Peter have a peace of mind, that I understand him, that I understand his world to a certain degree, for him to build that relationship and to begin to trust me. Now, the trust grows, right? Like a snowball going down a mountainside. It grows with me showing up. It grows with him seeing the results that he wants to achieve through his flute and through his business. That trust is built. But showing Peter that we have a common ground, it gives us a place to start, and then our relationship can evolve. You will hear about his amazing story in episode 300 on Monday, and I'm so glad that the content has unfolded in this way. I am not a good person or a planner to be able to do teasers, so you know that this teaser is really authentic because I couldn't plan something like that even if I tried. So Peter talks about this, and we have that common bond. Anyways, that is a long-winded example, but the point is, if I didn't share that part of my life with him, our relationship probably, just probably, would not have unfolded the way it has over the course of these past 12 months. That is a really fine example of how if you show up and you are vulnerable and honest and share these amazing parts of your life with your listeners. I don't care if it's through a Facebook, Instagram Live, your YouTube channel, a blog, a podcast, you need to be visible. You need to show up, okay? And by you showing up as a business, yes, you are showing off your expertise and how you can help said person achieve X result. That is what an entrepreneur does. He or she solves the industry's problems, and specifically within their own community. You can't solve all the problems. But by you showing up, yes, you're showcasing your expertise, but there has to be a human heart, human stories behind that branding. That's what people connect to, okay? They connect to the face, the stories behind the brand. And if you never show up in this very intimate way, how are they going to know, like, and trust you to eventually work with you? So if you are afraid to show up, if you are scared about how people perceive you, yes, I know, I empathize with you. It can be scary, but please show up in a way that you're willing and able to show up, and think about what you're willing to share. Go back to past Flute 360 podcast episodes where I talk about showing up authentically and how you can network in this really genuine way and not from this sleazy standpoint. There is a real way where you can connect with like-minded people, like-minded flutists, like-minded businesses to really move the needle forward for not only yourself, but for everybody involved. This is the win-win that I want you to achieve. And if I take an inventory of the last 4 years of anyone who has purchased from me in some capacity, whether it is one-on-one coaching, flute lessons, subscriptions, coaching packages, courses, I see this theme running throughout all of my past and current clientele every stinking time. We reflect back to each other. You're a mirror to your people. They see themselves in you. But you have to be willing to show up and actually share something personal. It doesn't have to be like your deepest, darkest secrets from your personal diary if you don't want it to be. But you have to be willing to show up in some capacity in order for your people to actually connect with you, see themselves in you, see your reflection in them, and vice versa, for that relationship, that trust factor to begin, to blossom, to scale. And I remember a specific client many years ago when she purchased a coaching package. She said at the onset of those 4 sessions, she said, Heidi, the reason why I knew I had to work with you is because I am also a Christian musicpreneur. You have pivoted, and I want to pivot too. And because you shared your faith and you were authentic and bold in that way, I knew I wanted and had to work with you. Now, come on, guys. I did not prompt that conversation from her at all. She naturally wanted to showcase and share that with me. That was a huge aha moment for me, and I realized time and time again, I saw the same thing happen in different ways from different students and clients throughout my business history, throughout the journey of my business. I want this for you. Do not be afraid of showing up for yourself and for your audience. They will thank you later, I promise. Take what you do on stage as a flutist, as an artist. If connecting to the silver tube, if connecting to the music score, and if connecting to your audience members comes easy to you, that's the connection that I want you to pick up and pivot and move over into your flute business world. That same connection that you have with your artistic voice and your audience members, that is the same connection I want you to have with your students, dream clients, and clientele. Connect with the music, connect with your tribe, and magic will happen every single time. If you need more help with this, if you need help on your flute journey, whether it's your personal, artistic, or business growth, I am always here for you. I believe in you. I am proud of you. Keep showing up. And I am your #1 cheerleader. Always here for you. Reach out anytime. Talk to you soon. Have a great weekend, my friend. And I will see you on Monday. That's it for today's Flute 360 episode. Before you head out, remember that we're offering a free trial of the Flute 360 Accelerator Program for the rest of August 2024. This is your only chance this year to join our supportive community, access over 25 videos, and learn from our fantastic fall 2024 guests like Dr. Catherine Eminent, Jolene Madewell, Dr. Danette Derby McDermott, Corey Barger, and Daniel Velasco. Whether you're dealing with an injury, seeking artistic growth, or needing business guidance, we are here for you. But act quickly. This offer ends on September 1st, 2024. Let's talk about flute.